So obviously by now, if you tune into this channel, chances are that you are one of the people that is very well aware of the difference between all the factions of Marvel. Now of course, if you're new, I will kind of just quickly catch you up on everything. Essentially, Marvel Studios, the ones that's putting out all the movies that tie into the Avengers, is its own faction. And they of course have two rival studios. They have Sony, which of course they made an agreement with to share Spider-Man for the benefit of both companies and fans finally being satisfied. And then of course there is Fox, who owns the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, who is the one that is most reluctant to do anything with anybody because of some bad blood and history that happened in the past. But now of course when you get back to Marvel Studios and Disney, there's two different factions within those. There is the movie faction, which is of course run by Kevin Feige, and then there is the television faction, which is run out of New York by Jeff Loeb. Now earlier in the year and last year, we actually got some big breaking news from both of these factions. Essentially, they've been talking to Fox and they are kind of working together. Essentially, they announced that we are going to be getting the Fox FX series Legion, which is of course based on an X-Men character. And now this was the first sign of them working together. Then they actually announced a second television series that they would be partnering up for, which clearly showed a willingness of the studios willing to work together. Now a lot of people might be wondering, why exactly is this, worth talking about? It's because if there is ever to be any X-Men TV series, it has to go through Marvel Studios, Disney, and the TV division. It just has to. That's how it has to be done, because they only own the license to put the live action characters in the movies. And recently there was a press conference at New York Comic Con, which for the first time you actually saw heads of Fox and Marvel sitting together talking about Legion, which I honestly think looks like a pretty good TV series, especially after the last trailer, and I can't wait to give it a try. Now there was a few things that people took note of this, and one main quote that people are talking about is the fact that Jeff Loeb said that the willingness between Marvel and Fox working together for these television series is of course building bridges for down the road. Now make of that what you will, but think about what has happened in Hollywood, specifically in the last 6 years since the Avengers came out, about 4.5 years ago now, and completely changed Hollywood. Everybody kind of sees that as the end goal and everybody wants a shared universe. Fox has had numerous failed attempts. They failed with the Fantastic Four. X-Men Apocalypse definitely didn't deliver critic-wise or money-wise, and their biggest success happens to be Deadpool, something they didn't even want to do. You look over at Sony, who was in the same straits as they were, and they made the deal with Marvel, and they got Spider-Man over there, and now Spider-Man is once again, one of the biggest sellers when it comes to his merchandise, because once again people are excited for this character. Now with the decline of X-Men and them being impacted, it kind of makes you think, what type of bridges are they building over there? And obviously the TV series are, I think, a first indicator that these two studios are sitting down and they're discussing something for down the road. Now what this is going to be, who really knows? But honestly, I think it's pretty interesting, considering when you think of how big of a bomb the Fantastic Four was, and think of how big of a bomb the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was. Now, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 made a bit of money, but it still bombed when you think of it in a critical sense and what they needed it to make. The Fantastic Four was a bomb on all fronts, and that movie made no money, and the critics hated it. That's never going anywhere. It's probably going to sit there. So there's something happening there between Fox and Marvel reaching some sort of agreement. What it is, we don't really know, but I guarantee something is going to happen in the future down the road, and this TV series is going to be a great indicator of the studios working together. So bridges are being built, and I can't wait.